So in regular Battlefield nature, the devs over at DICE and wherever else are almost 100% working on the next title. 2042 will still get a small amount of attention, and it's 4 seasons of content, but from the small amount of content we're getting right now, to EA literally leaving 2042 out of their earnings reports, it's very clear that the game is on some sort of back burner already. It's sad to think that multiple games are actually delayed or even cancelled to allow for the development of this game, but for me at least, not all hope is lost for the next title. One of DICE's most exciting hires since Battlefield 2042 is Marcus Lehto. Before his job at DICE, he co-created the Halo universe, and now he's game director at DICE in charge of Battlefield's narrative. I'm pretty sure after the mess that was 2042's narrative and cringe specialists, they just went out and tried to hire someone who actually knows what they're doing, and Marcus certainly has the resume. Anyways, recently he's been putting out some really interesting tweets, and he seems to be polling the community for inspiration, likely for Battlefield 7. So far he's asked fans which Battlefield music was the best, along with which title that had the best style and tone. For music, it should be pretty obvious if you watch my videos a lot. My favourite is definitely Battlefield 4. I consistently use the BF4 tracks in the background of my videos, and I think they really just add to the game and they add to any video that I make. As for style and tone, for me it's definitely Battlefield 3. I mean, that game just felt so gritty and immersive. The sound effects, the voice lines, the scenes in those maps were just unmatched for me. Especially the voice lines though, they just hit so hard, they had heaps of swearing in them. It really just felt like a real Battlefield kind of experience.
Get your shit together, our asses are fucked up! You hear me?
We are Russians. We don't fucking lose, блять.
Come on, Bugs Bunny, hop the fuck on.
Anyways, I thought we'd help out Marcus and DICE here, and actually just take a look at which game nailed each aspect of a traditional Battlefield title, and by the end of this, we should have a rough idea of what the perfect Battlefield could look like. I highly encourage commenting how you guys would do it, but we'll get started with what I'm hoping for. Starting with gunplay, this is potentially the most important part of any FPS game, and for me, it's got to be a slightly modified BF4 gunplay with less spread. Maybe like what we had in Battlefield Hardline. I didn't really play enough of it, and especially not recently, to know exactly how that game worked, but from what I can remember, that game felt really good in terms of gunplay. You don't want too much spread and random recoil that it interrupts gunfights, but you don't actually want gunplay that's so laser-like that you can cross-map people with SMGs without bursting at all, like in 2042 for example. Now getting into the movement, this one might be controversial, but I'm going to give it to Battlefield 5. I think the directional sliding, the crouch jumping, and the jump shots in that game were just about perfect in my opinion. Super underrated, and I'd be happy if it was copy-pasted straight into the next title. I think they've aged extremely well, and that game really nailed the movement in my opinion. Now moving to the vehicle mechanics, I think Battlefield 4 was the most complete and well thought out vehicle balance that we've ever seen. After playing it for close to 8 years, I can only nitpick just a few things, and that is super impressive considering how long that game's been out, how much time I've put into that game, how much basically stress testing I've put into those mechanics. And there's only really a few things that I don't like that much. That is really impressive, I just gotta say that again. And I think this could be copy-pasted into the next title. Assuming the TV bug, the sound bug, and passive radars are removed, I think this would be an excellent starting point, and maybe not a bad finishing point either. Now moving along to the maps, it's clear that each Battlefield game can produce brilliant maps. But some games have more good maps than others. For example, 2042 only really has 1 or 2 decent maps. For me, being more of an all-rounder type player, I enjoyed Battlefield 3 and 4 maps the best. I think BF3 slightly edges out BF4 due to the lack of flag assets. In my opinion, there was less just maps that I really hated playing in BF3. But then again, I didn't put near the amount of time into BF3 that I did BF4, so I haven't got the chance to really play those maps until I hate them, like I have in Battlefield 4. And honestly, most of the maps in BF4 I can still have a really good time on. There's only a few that I really just dread playing. Now, from the perspective of an infantry player, I've actually asked a few friends. I mean, I play a lot of infantry, but it's not the only thing I do. And we all kind of agree that Battlefield 5's best maps were actually just excellent. I mean, we'll just start with Devastation. That map is probably my favorite infantry map in any Battlefield game. And it also happens to be one of the best tank maps in Battlefield 5. Just saying that is a real, like, it's an impressive design feat. They've designed a map that's so good for tanking and infantry at the same time. Usually you have maps like Siege of Shanghai, which are great for the attack helicopter, but not as fun for everyone else getting absolutely railed by it. I definitely can't think of many examples where both infantry and a vehicle really enjoy that kind of map. Anyways, moving on, you had maps like Al Marj, which are great fun. Rotterdam is pretty damn good. Operation Underground, in my opinion, is the best underground style map, and then Marita and Arras were also really good maps. I just think it's important to add some infantry only maps. 2042 definitely missed out on this, and I do think they paid the price. Now, another shout out for Battlefield 1. I didn't really play it that much, but I've heard a lot of praise about some of the maps. The Fort de Vaux or whatever, the Locker style map, is apparently really good. And also Archie Barber, I've heard a lot of praise about that map. Basically what I'm saying is that most of the Battlefield games can actually produce really, really good maps. I do think the only exception to this is Battlefield 2042. There's only maybe one or two like pretty decent maps, but none of them are excellent. I wouldn't say any Battlefield 2042 map is truly excellent. And unfortunately, I think that's a product of 128 players being a thing, maybe specialists ruining the flow of maps, and maybe even they were Battle Royale maps at first. I don't actually know what happened with that game, but they definitely paid the price with some of that map design. Anyways, now if DICE gets all of these things right, they've actually done a really excellent job. But now we'll get into some of the more nitpicky things. I mean, servers have been an issue for some Battlefield titles. Before Battlefield 1, there was admin abuse and servers would get DDoSed. Battlefield 5 fixed the DDoSing, but there was definitely still admin abuse. And Battlefield 2042 was just super laggy some days and fine on others. I've heard that Battlefield 1 had the best server quality overall, so whatever they did there was really good. And in my opinion, they had the best server situation with RSP. No crazy DDoSing situation over there. And I definitely wouldn't mind seeing something like that again. Now moving along to the quality of life features, I'm talking about things like UI, in-game quality of life, things like being able to take health and ammo off teammates, all that kind of stuff. I think for the most part, Battlefield 5 did it pretty well. I will say that the in-game HUD was probably better in Battlefield 4, which is really, really customizable. You could change everything in that. But pretty much everything else, in my opinion, Battlefield 5 did well enough. And I wouldn't mind seeing that come back. Definitely don't take the UI from Battlefield 2042 though, if you do anything. The UI in 2042 is just so horrendously bad. Whoever did that, I don't know what the opposite to a round of applause is, but you deserve that. Anyways, if you're still watching the video at this point, firstly, thank you. And if you can, definitely leave a comment with your favorite aspects of each Battlefield. Do you agree with my take or not? I'm definitely keen to hear, and this could be even pretty beneficial for DICE. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed. Take it easy, guys. Peace.